Hey, this is Match once again. We're about to have videos of the paid requests. This time for James. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And James wanted me to react to this older video of the Angry Video Game Nerd, which is how behind the scenes and nerd stuff is tour in 2021. Now, I don't always agree with James. He does seem like a nice guy. I did not like his movie. The whole plagiarism scandal thing with Monster Madness rubbed me the wrong way. Because I'm like, dude, really? You doing these reviews? I mean, a movie review a day. You can't just, off the top of your head, talk for 5 minutes with each of these films. I mean, come on now. You don't need writers, especially people that then they stole stuff from other people. So, but I mean, the stuff for recent years has been the best. But I still had a lot of fond memories of the guy, him working with Mike Matei, and he does seem like a nice guy. Just, but nobody's perfect. But I still like a lot of his older work. So this would be interesting to see. It's 22 minutes 35 seconds long. Don't think I ever caught this video. I don't watch a lot of his stuff nowadays, but I don't hate him or anything. He's never done anything to me. Again, he usually just keeps himself and kind of low on the radar. I don't really care about his singing group. Hey, if he wants to be in a cover band, that's cool. He's not hurting anybody. That's fine. Just not my cup of tea. I think the AVGN tier is a little bit long in the tooth at this point, as he's getting older. But it's sad that him and my Mate don't do those James and my Mondays anymore, because I think that was actually one of the better things they were doing. But I know my Mate wanted to separate. Mike's doing his own thing on his own channel, streaming. Whereas that's a bit more fun than... Just to be honest, Mike Mate was the real Angry Video Game Nerd. I think that's what people are realizing, is that while James was the face and more the filmmaker, Mike was the video game guy. He was more of a fan of video games, and he was the actual angry video game nerd. So, and Mike's not a perfect guy either, but I do like a bunch of his stuff too. Now, I won't be showing the video because I don't want to steal the person's video without any permission, and YouTube's copyright's pretty broken. So I have the link down below in the info box. If you want to, whenever you're on your computer, hit it. Have another tab, another window, follow along, feel free. Pause at the beginning, 3, 2, 1, pressing play. Yeah, 15 years of it is pretty crazy. So he did the video and didn't realize the microphone for him was not plugged in. That was pretty funny. I'm sure people got mad about that, but I think that's pretty funny. And he has a hell of a collection. You just looked in the background there and his whole room. Sega CD, 32X, like all these other games. Just insane. Semester Podcast. I love it. He says, it gives me a chance to talk a lot more. No, it doesn't. When you watch a podcast, he barely says anything. It's the other guys talking. And James is like, yep. Or, no. Yeah, the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas reference, that episode wasn't really big on. Because the skits can be fun. I mean, the Sega CD and the Atari, was it 7800? The skits were fun. I always remember the bit where the controller wasn't the right one, so he ordered, and Paperboy throws it, cuts to hitting James in the head. That always makes me laugh. But the game itself, and talking about the game, is the most essential part of it. EverDrives. I'm sure people are wondering, are you sure you want to play on EverDrive? Because emulation, people get very upset about if you're playing emulation. Some people do. So he's talking about the game capture. DVD recorder to a laptop. Okay. Play a game for hours and nothing recorded. Or the sound was glitchy. Oh, video stereo, yeah. Damn. It's a crazy PC. The hell? Had drilled a hole in his wall to get the wire in. See, the thing with James is I think he's a guy who's, I don't want to say introverted, but he's much more of a, he's not a big talker. When you see him in interviews out in public, conventions, like you see footage of that, he keeps to himself. He's a very quiet guy. He's a very unassuming guy. And he seems like a nice guy, and he's happy. He's got a wife. He's got kids. Nothing wrong with that. That's a crazy thing. AVGN, Board James, Monster Madness, and everything else. Yeah, backup drives. Damn, copying 207 items to movies web, 14 hours. Zelda anime review, 2 hours. 7 days. But is it taking that much longer because you're doing it all at the same time? Like, would it be better if you do it one at a time? I don't know. Maybe not. Adobe Premiere, yeah, that could cause some serious issues. I'm not an expert at all at computers, so I'm a guy that's, old fart is what I am. Jesus. One wire that costs a couple $100? Jesus. So Streamwaves, I just bought him a bunch of stuff. Screenwaves. Is that the guys that he was on that podcast with and hacked the movies and all those guys? I guess if they paid all this money to him and gave him all this stuff, maybe he felt like I owe these guys something. So yeah, these guys are gonna be on the podcast. They're gonna be in the videos. Again, maybe he's like, hey, I owe them on something. I just figure, well, he thought, oh, the internet went down all the time where he was at. Hmm. Damn, I'm surprised. I mean, I'm so used to being in the middle of nowhere, so like it makes sense. The internet's not the best because you're in the middle of nowhere. But I, I, it's a stupid assumption. But yeah, of course, people in city areas they'd have issues with internet as well, like everybody else. Maybe because there's so many people trying to use it. So wow, he's got a teleprompter. Well, I guess it shows that doing an AVGN video is a lot more complicated than you think. Of course, a part of you goes, well, does it need to be that complicated? Of course, you think, well, do you need to learn lines of dialogue? Just review the game. Just. Or even you just take notes. I mean, if someone said, hey, I take a few notes, I take a few notes and you look down, would anyone really be that mad about it? But, okay. Of course, this is a guy that has millions of subscribers, and here I am critiquing, and I'm lucky if a video gets 100 views. So obviously, he's doing something right, and I'm not. So who the hell am I to say? Who the fuck am I to say? The way he's doing it got over, a million subscribers, and his videos did, 20, 30, 40, 50,000, 60, 70,000. Gee, I wonder. Because YouTube now, I mean, let's face it, a lot more people are trying to make their shows look like legitimate TV shows with the lighting. Like this lighting would be inappropriate for them. This lighting would be, oh my god, it's the sound. Oh, you're just recording off your video camera and the lighting is too dark and there's no cuts and edits and skits. So there's much more bargain basement. Which I did. There's some, it's entertaining to see some flash in the videos. I didn't understand that, but to me, it's not essential. So there's the lights where you put wax paper. God, look at all those lights. I didn't notice that sometimes he would have glasses with no lenses in them. I guess you gotta be careful. It's a fire hazard. I mean, if it helps the workflow, but the videos still take a while to come out. I mean, you're lucky if you did once a month. That's the thing. James is very adamant to do it like a movie because he's. Here's the thing with James. He's always been more of a movie fan. I mean, he doesn't mind video games, but he's much more of a movie fan. When you look at his older videos, it was him filming, zombie movies or horror films. And he had movie reviews. I mean, movies was his bread and butter. And he wanted to be a filmmaker, wanted to be a director. And the AVGN movie was his chance to be a director. I bet he would prefer it be something that's not video game related, but that's his popular character, so. And I think that's why the movie. There are people complaining that it doesn't do different camera angles. I guess the thing, there are some people that love the. And that's sad though. Like he over 100 hours to this Fairland Las Vegas parody. And that's not even considered one of his better videos. A lot of people didn't like that video, I think. I'm sure if you go on the comments section, a lot of people liked it, but that's not really looked at as one of his more beloved episodes, from what I remember. It's okay, it's a lot of skits, but yeah, Super Pitfall was more memorable and that was more simple. I think James has to realize that being bigger doesn't mean better. You could be as like mid kids, people still enjoy as including me because it was funny. So now it's getting to the point that he's got kids, so they have, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being there for your kids. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. But I don't think people. Okay, like he's like, oh well, I had to tie myself with an onion in my mouth, and But here's the thing, though. I don't think people would have been that mad if he took this whole thing out. Like, you don't need to have a scene with you tied up with an onion in your mouth, though. That's the thing. Is that you rework the script, you rework it and go, okay, simpler. I think one of his best ones was the... What the hell was that one now? I'm bad with titles. The one with the video game that was made up and it was done like a found footage one. Where it's like day after day, he's in this one facility with this one arcade game. They had this rumor that this arcade game never existed. God, the name of it is like tip right at the edge there. But I think that was one of his better ones, and that was much simpler. So is this the where the meme of James don't have enough time came from? Does that remember? Uh, so you mentioned how people don't like that Streamwave. So now he's mentioned about how people say, well, people say I don't do anything and they do it all, and people don't like that they help me. Okay, here's the question though. They can help you behind the scenes, but on camera, they're not interesting people. They're not funny. So he mentions, some people say I should quit. And he's like, yeah, it's time too soon, but it's fun. I'd rather be doing this job as something boring. Okay, you're allowed to do a basic episode. Okay, I'll say this, James. You're allowed to do a basic episode. In fact, some of your more basic episodes to me were some of the better episodes. I'll say that. As a guy who's a fan, I think you seem like a good guy. You seem like a decent guy. You haven't. The thing with Streamwave is that I don't think they're interesting people to watch. I think on the podcast they kind of talk more than you did, and sometimes they would interrupt you, sometimes they were over talk you, sometimes they took control of the conversation. But the only people who watch that podcast, they want to hear what you say and what you think and what you partake in the subject matter, not the other people. People watch the channel for you, not them. And I think for a lot of people, they like the older, and it's like a TV show. I mean, James should know this. Like any TV show, when you make changes to a cast, Like, oh, no more Mike Matei. Now it's these new people. How many times has that gone not so well? Then the show's ratings decline and the show's ratings go in the toilet and then it gets canceled or whatever because of these new cast additions. You know, for a guy who's a big fan of movies and shows, like, you should know that's to be expected by a lot of people. And yeah, I didn't understand that based on his tour that he makes things a lot complicated for himself. And it obviously didn't serve him well because but what as fun as some of the overzealous skits are, that's not I think James has to realize though that's not what brought him to the dance, so to speak. Him and Mike Matei working together to just make goofy, silly videos that were funny. How initially for how angry and how violent and how pissed he would get talking about video games and you could say Ninja Turtles was a basic, but it was look at a game, look at possible faults of the game, and that's a game I actually really enjoy. Having some fun catchphrases you come up with. Getting the wrong controller in one episode, and after Paperboy, it's the simple things that can work a lot bigger than the bigger things. The bigger things, it'd be okay, it's him doing it, and it doesn't feel as special nowadays because everybody does it. So many other people do that now. So many people do the skits and the effects and all that stuff, and they did it whether they were inspired by James or not. Nostalgia Cray was doing it, but only he was talking about movies. All these other guys, and it became a thing where everybody did it, and because everybody did, it didn't feel as special. And I don't think the writing in the videos have improved in these skits. Again, I know he put a lot of time into that Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas parody, but I'm sure some people go, wow, you did all this with an internet show, on YouTube? But how many times do people actually rewatch that episode? But a lot more people rewatch, the Atari Warriors with you and the guitar guy playing with each other and going back and forth, and because there's some funny lines in it. Worked funnier, not harder. Of course, that's easier said than done. And time, yeah, of course, a lot of people, they deal with their work and they go home and then they deal with their kids as well. There's a lot of people who have kids, but they also have to go to work. If you had a daytime job and then also had to deal with this, that'd be one thing. But I think that's what people look at, is that a lot of people, understandably, are like, dude, I gotta go to a daytime job. And then maybe as a hobby, they do a video like this, or they do reviews, or they do stuff. Obviously, with James, he does things a lot more complicated, with effects and stuff. But again, are people watching you for the effects, or are they watching you at this point because they grow with you and don't want to see what kind of laughs they get out of it? And more so talking about the video game, oh, maybe this is a video game I haven't heard of, or this is a video game I haven't heard of in a while, or haven't thought of in a while. And oh my god, yeah, that was a pretty funny part. That was a really annoying part. I can understand your frustration. I can understand your anger. I can understand how that part is broken. And I think that's what people were more accepting to. Maybe that's just me, though. But still an interesting video. I mean, like I said, I don't watch his stuff nowadays. I agree with the people that Streamwave. I'm glad they're helping you out, and I'm sure you felt obligated to allow them to be in the videos because, hey, they're helping me out, so they get some screen time. But I don't think people Rich didn't really care for these guys. That personality-wise, they didn't bring much to the table into the conversations. That podcast failed because, again, people listen to the podcast for you, but now these other people are taking over. Same with the rental reviews. I'd hear more what James had to say. And so many times in videos, like, James is ready to talk, but then this guy talks. Or James is ready to talk, but this guy talks. Or this guy's talking, and James just kind of sitting there. And you know, can James talk? People watching this for fucking him. Can he talk? Get a word in edgewise? But that's because, again, James is a much more quiet person. And I think that's why, as a film director, things weren't the best on the AVGN movie. Because as a film director, I'm sure you have to be vocal, you have to be assertive. That's say you have to be an ass, like James Cameron, or William Friedkin on sets. At least William Friedkin back in the day, may he rest in peace. But you have to be somewhat assertive and somewhat demanding as a boss. And James, I think, is a very easygoing guy. And I'm sure it's like, well, I gotta do this, so yeah, you guys, write me the scripts, I'll do the reviews. But it's like, well, why are you letting them write the strips? Like, obviously this is before the 31 Days of Horror kerfluffle about the plagiarism thing. And then they did a video, but then the video was unlisted and it wasn't really an apology. It was like a non-apology. I was just kind of a weird ass thing, so I don't know. But yeah. I'm out of time. With that said, though, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.